Make It Big 2021. Thanks to all of you for being here with us today. I'm Marianne Beckedal, SVP of Global Business Development at BigCommerce, and I'm so excited to be here with Michael Mosser, the GM of Entertainment, Toys, and Seasonal at Walmart. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Marianne. I'm really excited to be here.
So before joining Walmart, you held positions at HSN and eBay. So needless to say, you have so much experience across multi-channel retail strategy, e-commerce, and marketplaces. Please tell us a little bit about your experience in the industry and what you're doing now at Walmart.
Yeah, sure. So I began my career in retail at HSN and the Home Shopping Network, as you mentioned, first as a lawyer, actually, but don't hold that against me. I was running their transactional group there and then transitioned to the VP of Business Development. TV retail, was my first real exposure to the omni-channel world as brands were looking to leverage HSN's television platform to reach a new audience and then subsequently hsn.com. It's kind of an interesting experience to look back on now as we see this surge in live streaming commerce coming. It was kind of an interesting time. I went from there to eBay, where I was there for 8.5 years, first onboarding and helping scale sellers for the eBay marketplace, and then subsequently as the GM for the lifestyle, media, and toys categories. And then about 5 months ago, I joined the Walmart marketplace team, and where I'm currently, as you mentioned, the GM for entertainment, toys, and seasonal, and then also currently leading the channel partnerships team and the marketplace site programming teams.
All right, that's quite a lot of responsibility you have at Walmart right now, and Walmart's a pretty hot place to be, so kudos to you. So let's dive right in. Goes without saying that online sales were a large focus for merchants in the last year. In fact, BigCommerce and Retail Dive did some research in 2020 and discovered that 46% of retail executives said they plan to increase their investment in omni-channel retailing moving forward compared to their plans prior to COVID. I think we all know by now that having an omni-channel approach is a must. So then the big question becomes, how can you be as successful as possible? At BigCommerce, we encourage our merchants to adopt a 4-pillar approach that takes into account sales channels, marketing, operations, and fulfillment. So what do you see, Michael, as the critical components to having a balanced omni-channel approach?
Yeah, Marianne, as we've seen in the last 18 months, how and where customers shop can change in an instant, right? It can be due to trends, it can be new technology, or it can be factors completely outside our control, like a global pandemic. The retailers and brands that were and are the most successful are those that are able to quickly pivot and meet customers where and how they shop. I think the main thing retailers have to do is to understand that customers see your brand, not your org chart or not your preferred delivery channel. You have to be proactive and meet customers where they're shopping, and invest your time and energy to ensure that each channel where the customer is going to be coming in contact with your brand is creating a consistent customer experience for them.
Makes a ton of sense. We call that selling everywhere, being where the shoppers are shopping everywhere. So sellers have to sell everywhere, right?
Exactly.
So I think our audience today is particularly interested in understanding how to win in new channels. Before we dive into the Walmart marketplace specifically, help us understand why it's so important for merchants to focus on constantly growing, rethinking, and re-strategizing their omnichannel opportunities in the current commerce landscape.
Yeah, I think it's true now more than ever, right? We estimate that the pandemic accelerated the adoption of new shopping behaviors and habits for consumers by 3 to 5 years. And these new habits appear to be sticking. If you think back prior to the pandemic, if we can, e-commerce was evolving at such an unbelievably rapid rate as it was. And then to think now that we've leapfrogged 3 to 5 years ahead in terms of adoption of these new behaviors, it's really staggering. Omnichannel shopping, as you said, is quickly becoming, it's the baseline expectation for customers, and I think suppliers and retailers and brands together all are going to have to embrace that if we're going to be successful together.
Definitely. As businesses shape their omnichannel plans, though, I think a big focus is on category performance by channel. So you've had a ton of experience, I'm sure, at HSN, of course, but then at eBay with entertainment and toys and where you are today across multiple channels. We hear from merchants that they kind of need to know where their goods are best positioned to reach their target customers, i.e., kind of what's selling where. Can you give us an overview of the current category performance, maybe at Walmart, including any surprises or notable shifts we should be paying, our merchants should be paying attention to?
Yeah, sure. So I can't speak to specific category performance or numbers, but in general, we're definitely seeing customers this year returning to a more normal purchasing pattern. Last year we saw record sales in categories and items like sewing machines and hair clippers and bikes and home improvement items, all those things to help people stay sort of hunkered down at home. We also saw a lot of sales in home office type equipment, so computer monitors and printers and things like that. In the US this year, what we're seeing is definitely a more return to social categories like entertaining and travel, seeing spikes in things like party speakers or celebration supplies, those types of items and products that show that thankfully, people are starting to return to getting back together in a little bit more normalcy.
That's awesome. I think that bodes well for all of our social lives. So that's great to be a part of.
For sure.
So, according to Digital Commerce 360, Walmart is, for the first time, projected to be the second largest online retailer in North America. That's unbelievable. I guess it's believable because it's Walmart, but that's fantastic, I guess. In addition, I think I saw that your marketplace GMV more than doubled in 2020. All those home gym supplies and hair clippers and things like that, amongst on top of, I guess, growth that was well underway as you guys built out the marketplace strategy. So it's clear that Walmart Marketplace is an amazing omnichannel solution for merchants. Who should be selling on Walmart? Who should not be selling on Walmart? Because I think there are some merchants that really aren't a fit for your platform or your audience. And what types of customers will merchants find on your platform?
Yeah, I love this question. So, for Walmart, we're building a marketplace around transparency, trust, and fairness for both our sellers and our customers. Fundamental principles for us. As we talked about earlier, you have to have your products where the customers are shopping. Walmart has 120 million unique shoppers coming to our website every month looking for great products, and you want to have your products in front of those customers and be part of that conversation. Second, we vet every seller that applies to sell on the Walmart marketplace. We do this to ensure that we're having the highest quality items at the best prices and with sellers that we know are going to be providing a great experience for our buyers. We do this because it builds trust for our customers. And then ultimately that increases customer loyalty and traffic and sales for our marketplace partners. In terms of the types of customers that you'll find in the Walmart marketplace, Walmart really represents America, right? So 89% of the people in the United States shopped at a Walmart store last year. 90% of the population is within 10 miles of a Walmart store. To dive into a few specifics that you may not know about the customer, more than half of Walmart.com customers are medium to high household income and are homeowners. Our largest generational segment is millennials. Over a third of our customers are between the ages of 23 and 38. And then more than half of our online shoppers are married or partnered, and more than nearly half have children. So we're talking about households. So it really is this representation of America. So if you're looking to drive a material incremental sales through a marketplace channel, and your foundational principles are around trust and transparency and fairness, then you should be selling on the Walmart marketplace.
So thanks for sharing all that great information about Walmart shoppers. I bet Walmart sellers are thinking about how they can compete on the platform because, unlike their own dedicated e-com site, now they're presenting their merchandise against other brands that are selling similar products or services. So if I'm a merchant, I'm thinking, how long will it take me to find success on this new channel? How do I stand out amongst the thousands of other sellers on the platform? So what would your advice be, Michael, to businesses in terms of how they can stand out and create a competitive edge on the Walmart marketplace?
That's a great question. The sellers that we find have the most success in the Walmart marketplace are those that are really focusing on the foundationals. And those sellers have a few things in common. First, they have great inventory at fantastic prices, and they're actively managing their inventory to ensure that they're meeting customers' expectations and demands. So making sure that they've got inventory levels, they're not running out of stock, things like that. These sellers also have best in class photos for their items. They've got really robust product descriptions, and they've got full item attributes so that their products can be more easily discovered when customers are searching for them on the Walmart marketplace. And then also, it leads to higher conversion when they do. So if that customer encounters that product and they see these great images and descriptions, it really helps drive conversion. Another common factor that these sellers share is that they post reviews for their items as well. So you have that objective customer endorsement for the product, which also helps lead to better conversion. They're also really focused on exceeding customers' expectations when it comes to things like on-time delivery and fast delivery. And then finally, these sellers also share commonality in having accessible and friendly and prompt customer service so that they can help address any questions or concerns that might arise for one of their customers. So it's those real core foundational kind of principles or elements that help these sellers be successful on the platform. And, the question around how could they gain a competitive edge, one of the things too is Walmart has a variety of services like Walmart fulfillment services, for example, which can help sellers fill gaps in their own capability. So if they have difficulty shipping a product to a customer and meeting that customer's delivery timeline, they could leverage a service like Walmart Fulfillment Services to help expedite that delivery.
So obviously, selling on the Walmart marketplace gives sellers a tremendous opportunity to reach the mass of shoppers that come to Walmart. And we've talked a little bit about how they can stand out and create that edge and compete with other sellers of similar products. In doing so, how do you recommend that a brand retain its brand identity and kind of that connection it has with customers through the brand that they've built, either on social channels or on their own site, as they kind of evolve into this bigger sea of the Walmart marketplace?
Yeah, it's a great question. Brand is so important. And, Walmart has built the marketplace, as we mentioned earlier, around transparency, trust, and fairness, and looking to have a process by which we're looking closely at the sellers who we're bringing to the marketplace. So they're going to be providing a good environment for our seller community overall. One of the things that's great about a marketplace is as customers are coming onto the marketplace and shopping for your brand, it's a new opportunity to reach this customer and deliver a brand experience to a customer who might not otherwise be shopping on your own.com. So every touch point that you have, whether it's your item images or your descriptions like we talked about, all of those things are ways to convey your brand to the customer, and also especially through customer service. You have the ability to control those things on the marketplace. And so it's an opportunity for the customer to really experience your brand.
Great. So we've talked a lot about how a merchant can get started and set up on Walmart Marketplace, why they should be selling omnichannel, and the benefits to being on Walmart. For sure. Got it. So I set up on Walmart. I'm 2, 3, 4, 6 months in. What tips do you have for a merchant who's looking to now take that initial success and really build out a long-term strategy that includes Walmart alongside other channels, their direct e-com, social, etc.?
So, omni-channel doesn't mean you apply the same practice in every channel, right? It's a matter of being in all the channels. And I think you need to leverage the data and tools that you have in each of those channels to be successful. So as you look at the Walmart marketplace in your business going forward, it would be looking at things specifically like what inventory is currently selling on the platform and what are the prices that it's selling at. Again, making sure that you're being competitively priced. It's taking advantage of services like Walmart Connect to help pulse your business at specific moments in between potentially like broader retail moments where there's going to be a large investment on, Walmart's part in marketing and things like that. So it's really thinking about each of your channels that you're operating in distinctly, and the Walmart marketplace being one of those, and thinking about the data that we have and the tools that we have available to look at your performance in that specific channel to figure out how to best maximize it.
Great, thank you. So executing a holistic brand experience across all channels is crucial. I think we agree to that. But launching new channels can pose some interesting challenges for merchants in terms of easily managing their listings on new channels, which you alluded to, syncing inventory and orders, and managing fulfillment. Can you share the strategy Walmart is taking with partners to streamline this experience for merchants?
Yeah, absolutely. So, with the way we've approached our partnership with BigCommerce, merchants can work with a number of our mutual partners to leverage the most up-to-date API feeds, simplify things like item setup and order management processes, and easily sync their products and inventory and orders. But it really goes even beyond that, right? Bigger than just sales channels and marketing. There's a host of services and service providers that we're each making available and that we're making available together. And it's everything that a seller needs to be successful in the Walmart marketplace.
Great. So now I'm a merchant, I'm all set up, I've got great inventory management, all my SKUs are posted up, beautiful photos, lots of them. And now I need to start driving traffic. So if you build it, they will come doesn't seem to work in e-commerce. So you need to drive traffic to the channel, right? We've recently started to see the lines between ad platforms and marketplaces starting to blur. So you see ad platforms like Google and Instagram going deep into commerce, and marketplaces like Walmart delving into advertising. So tell us a little bit about Walmart is doing to help merchants in terms of advertising for greater success on the platform.
Yeah, sure. Today's shopper journey is so complex, right? Customers no longer shop online or in store, they do both. And almost 40% of Walmart customers actually shop on their phone while in a Walmart store. So for the 120 million monthly unique shoppers that we have on walmart.com, we're leveraging our marketing engine, Walmart Connect, to help inspire customers as they're searching and browsing on walmart.com. So Walmart Connect provides this comprehensive solution for our merchant partners to support their omnichannel efforts. It helps keep their brand top of mind with the Walmart customers. It helps them also understand Walmart shoppers' behavior and buying preferences and patterns. So whether a seller is launching a new product that they need to try to bring higher visibility to, or they're taking advantage of a key retail moment like holiday or Mother's Day, or promoting just their top sellers that they're working on selling every day, Walmart Connect helps provide the visibility to those items for our merchant partners on the platform every day.
That's great. So shifting gears a little bit, holidays coming. So holiday 2021 predictions. Before we wrap up, let's talk about how omnichannel sales fits into the holiday shopping strategy for successful merchants. Based on what you saw last holiday and which was a crazy holiday, and over the course of this year, what advice would you give retailers selling on Walmart Marketplace this upcoming holiday season? And what are some of the key shopping trends you're expecting to see?
Yeah, I mean, the advice I would say is be prepared, right? The online shopping season, I think, and this is not going to come as a big surprise in terms of the prediction, but I think it's going to be bigger than ever, right? You're going to see with the rapid acceleration and adoption that we had for customers' new shopping behaviors, whether it's buy online, pick up in store, or curbside delivery, or having items shipped directly to your home in an instant. I think we're going to see the further acceleration of those things and adoption of those things result in the biggest online shopping season we've seen ever. I think it's going to be really exciting.
Michael, you've offered so many amazing pieces of advice today around omni-channel sales and the Walmart marketplace, Walmart fulfillment, Walmart advertising. Thank you so much for all of that. If our audience were to leave with one or two key takeaways from you, what would those be?
The first one I would say is simple, which is, and we touched on this a couple of times, but don't expect your customers to come and find you. You have to be present and part of the conversation where your customers are shopping, and so that means the adoption of omnichannel, like really with your heart. Second, and I think probably the thing that I would reinforce the most is invest the time in the best practices that we talked about earlier. Make sure to invest the time and energy that you have into great photos and your item descriptions and the product information for your items. Make sure your items are priced competitively, be looking out in the marketplace, provide great service to customers. It's those foundational elements that if you live those best practices, it's going to make all the difference in your success in the marketplace.
All right, great. Thank you so much. It was absolutely wonderful talking with you today. Michael, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Great. And for those tuning in, be sure to check out more Make It Big sessions and share what you've learned on social. And don't forget to tag us at BigCommerce. Thanks, everybody. And thanks so much, Michael.
Thank you.